got some water to eat before they're back in class now. So everyone can write what they're looking forward to in college or what they want to become in the future, like Michael recommended before. Practice conversating with each other. So you guys can read your questions aloud when we call on you, and we can like help you with your English, or if you said something wrong, we can help you with that in class yesterday with Lynn. So would anyone like to start writing in the chat now? If not, I could. What? Let's see.
Did you join a college club, Christy?
Oh my god. Oh my. Can you ask that aloud, Taipei? Repeat the question to us in English just so you can get some practice in. No. Okay, I guess not. I'll answer the question. When I first went to UCSD, we were online to make new friends. So I joined the tea club. It's embarrassing, but so we drink tea together on Fridays. They send out tea packages and we try new teas together, and basically we just do that and talk to each other about our lives. So I hope that's interesting enough there, but I wanted to see who was drinking tea in this club. So I don't know, Michael, do you have any interesting clubs that you joined?
So I didn't join too many clubs because I like to play games a lot. But I had some friends of mine tell me to join this national fraternity AFIO. It is not a traditional fraternity or frat house that you see in colleges. Co-ed, and the reason why he wanted to do it was because there was a lot of females, girls in that club. So he was like, "Hey, Michael, come join this. I want to meet some girls." I'm like, "Really? We'll join for you, just to help him out." But yes, to do this very much so.
Oh my god. I don't. The next person said. Anyone else write their questions in the chat? Clubs, though, there are a lot of clubs on campus that you don't think would be clubs. Just like things like random things. I know there's a Harry Potter club on campus for those of you who said yesterday you like the book Harry Potter. They have, I think they have Mario Kart, a Mario Kart club, a yoga club, like clubs that don't even associate with like academics, they have on campus. Even if you're like, oh, I just want to do something fun, these clubs are a great way to meet people and like kind of do these different things.
So, well, if the students don't want to be, why don't the students share what kind of clubs you are in right now?
Yes.
All of you have clubs. Mom and dad came from Taiwan, and they had clubs back when. So, what kind of clubs do you guys have or are in?
Here, let's see. I can probably call on someone. So, clubs that you're in at the moment?
Um, I'm in the Mother United Nations.
Oh. So I think Michael was in Model UN as well, right?
Yes, yes,
That's
and there is college model UN, I believe, too, as well. So you could always do that, and I see someone also has done debate, and I'm sure that person and you would love, I'm sure there's debate club. I just haven't looked around at Berkeley, but I'm sure there is that.
there is.
Uh,
I wonder if number 22, have you looked into becoming a lawyer? I know a lot of kids who are in high school with me who did debate to study law and like politics and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. um, Yang, can you please read your question aloud?
Okay. Did you work part time when you were in college?
Okay, I'll go first. So, my first year at community college, I did work part time at Old Navy, which is a clothing store in the US. I worked part time, and then the mid first year, I think, at college, I decided that I was just going to focus on my studies for the rest of the time because pre med is very demanding. But a lot of my peers do work and do learn at the same time. I would just say you just need to make sure that the schedule matches up with yours and you get the best classes you can to work with your work schedule because it is kind of hard on that aspect.
yeah, so I did work part time all through college. My financial aid, part of it was working. And so in the freshman year, I worked as a teacher helper at a local elementary school for at-risk students. That was I didn't really like it. So was I was a bit smarter after 1 year. I looked up. I want to be an architect, so I looked up architectural jobs and was able to find architectural jobs through the work study program from school. So I use that as an opportunity to get a valuable experience, and it was beneficial for the owners too because I heard they only pay half of that salary. So if you get paid $10, they pay out $5. The school pays out $5. So it was very beneficial for the employers too. So I would say. I'm a person who says yes, do part-time work, but as as was previously said, make sure your studies are taken care of first. Make sure you get that those good grades because I wouldn't say my path was the right path to take.
Also, on campus, I know UCSD does this. They have campus jobs that you can get to your school schedule because they know you have classes and everything. And I think you submit your schedule to them, the classes you have and the other activities you have, and they will work around that with you. So you can get a job that way too if you're worried about your academics and stuff. And then there's also you can do tutoring on campus or become a teacher's assistant in class, which I know for of pre-med students do this just as a way to keep up with remembering chemistry or remembering biology. So these are things to keep in mind. Based on what you want to study, you can become a teacher's assistant. Um, Someone said guitar club. I'm gonna spell the word for you just because guitar is one of those words that learning English because it has that U and you don't think it should. um, but in terms of instruments, I don't know. I know they have guitar club on campus. They have a huge music program. Depending on what you go to, there's plenty of music programs. Um, I think they also have you can just go to kind of like intramural sports, which is basically like you're not a competitive sport. You're just have fun. I think they have that for music as well, and you can go and people your age and just play music with them. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that on campus. So just want to put okay, I don't know, Michael. You want to take this?
So the question, do we want them to ask it directly to us?
Sure. You Swan, can you say your
I was wondering, are there really a lot of parties in college? Like in the Hollywood movies, American colleges, they all like have very exciting parties.
It depends who you know. It's kind of the short story and whether you want to go or not. So I personally so I did not drink. I'm a or I was practicing Muslim at the time, so I did not drink, I did not eat pork. So wasn't until much later after college. So I never really liked going to these parties where they were drinking a lot, they were acting a little crazy. I would say, yes, at times there could be a lot of parties, especially towards the end of the year. In Berkeley, Thursdays were party days traditionally, and I would say be responsible. uh, make sure if you were to drink, you know, make sure you're the legal age. I'm gonna say that because we're recording here. Make sure that when you even are legal age, just making sure that you have a plan of how to get back to your place of residence where you live, so that you don't get taken advantage of, stuff like that too. So just be responsible. But parties are a part of college, and I would say if you don't at least go to one during college, then you might not have the full experience. If you're a person like me who didn't like going to those parties, then at least open yourself to one so you have it. If you're a person who loved to go to parties, my advice would be to try to limit yourself, try to pace yourself. College traditionally traditionally is 4 years. Some people take 5 years for their program, stuff like that. I would pace yourself. Make sure you still graduate and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm a Baha'i, so like Michael, we abstain from drinking. We don't drink. Um, I've been to some parties. I think Hollywood makes it a lot more glamorous, prettier than it actually is. But I also think it really matters on what type of school you go to. Because I know, for example, UCSD is nicknamed UC Socially Dead. Um, and it really is what Michael said. It's if you go and you want to find a party, you can. You just need to somehow get in. I know UCLA has a lot of parties. Um, it matters where you go if you want to find them. And it's really important to be responsible. Alcohol poisoning is a big thing in college. Um, Knowing how to get home is another big thing that you guys need to know. You're in groups, you're knowing what you're doing. Don't take drinks from anyone unless you go grab it yourself. Just these little tips to keep in mind when you go to college parties, because I'm sure they can be fun, be a little bit of a dangerous environment as well. Is there any other questions? Oh, Po Ying, can you say you're out?
I'm wondering people in college are friendly or hard to get along with because in my class now, most of people are friendly. But no, is there any difference between and high school?
Um, okay, so I would say the major difference is high school. I don't know if it's the same in Taiwan, but I know for high school for me was it's a group of people I've grown up with. I've known them for so long, so it was easy just to get along with them, no problem. I've known them for multiple years, 12 years of my life. Easy. I think college is it's not hard to get along with people, but it's more difficult than it was in high school. Just because there's just so many different people from different backgrounds with different cultures and things. Um, Everyone is relatively friendly. You can find your friends no matter what. As we were saying earlier with clubs, clubs are a great help with that.
So, I can add on to that. I think in you do have to take tests and you get placed in even high schools.
Oh,
And correct me if I'm mistaken here, but at least when my mom always talks about it, she talks about that being placed in the second best like high school was unfortunately not thought to get the best one, but you know. I would imagine that you would have to make your new friends when you do that, right? Or you might know somebody here or there. In college, same thing. Like when I went to college, I think only one other student from my school went to the same college. I actually did not know them. So for me, I had to make all new friends. And I would say it just depends, right? You cannot pick a roommate. I roomed with another person, and my room with two other people. I'm gonna go to his wedding next year. The other one, he left underwear, he left food, he left everything on the. And I remember me and my other friend, other roommate, we collected all this stuff, put it like in a corner. We poured perfume over it so it doesn't smell. We did not like the guy. We got along with him. We were like friendly, but he was crazy. So it really just depends. You know, that's the beauty of college. You get to meet all these people.
So,
Okay,
number,
thanks for you guys reply.
no problem. Number 22. Can you say your question out loud, please?
Okay. I want to know will most of the American college students will participate in some sorority or fraternity in American because we can usually see some in movies and there's a lot of yeah you just pay some money and your your friends and just maybe rent a house and living
For your question. So, my best friend goes to UCR, and she was the vice president of Delta Gamma, their fraternity over there.
Fraternity.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute you really quick. Okay, there we go. Um, in regards to do most students join sororities or fraternities, it kind of matters on what campus you go to. So I know for UCR, my friend likes to say to have a social life, she needed to join a sorority. I know for UCSD, that's not as common. There isn't even, like you said, they rent houses. There isn't even a frat row, as we like to call it at UCSD. I know UC Santa Barbara, they say the same thing as UCR. You need to join a sorority to have a social life. But I think that's all just on a matter of opinion. Time in college without joining a sorority or fraternity. If you want to join a sorority or fraternity, it's a great way to have connections going into different fields. But it also is important to know that sororities or fraternities aren't free. You have to actually pay for them to get in, and you have to they have a week, and it's called Rush Week, and you have to go and you have to be selected by that sorority or fraternity to get in. Process to get in, and do most college students join? I wouldn't say most of them do. I would say I don't even know. I think it's a really small percent of students actually join sororities or fraternities.
So I would agree. Much that you see in movies do not occur.
Yeah.
I streaking stuff like that. Yeah, it does occur in Berkeley because we're a little bit more liberal school historically. And then we do have a frat row. I actually had my original roommate who moved out, thereby bringing in this one really weird guy. But he moved out to his frat, and yes, there is cost to that, but then there's also benefits there where I think his rent was very cheap
Yeah.
in the house. But the flip side is you're always in the house. They're always throwing parties at that time. If that's what you like to do and that's why you went to college, then that's fine. But I would say understand what that frat does. Like I'm technically it was more of a community service frat, so it's completely different in that it wasn't geared towards drinking. You actually couldn't drink with any of your letters on, stuff like that. So it depends, but I would say for most students, do not join a fraternity or sorority. Most of my friends in college were not part of fraternities or sororities.
Okay. I think the next person is Ming Yang. Can you say your question out loud, please?
Have you ever participated in homecoming? What kind of event homecoming is? Whether it's a grand event or what?
Okay, I'm gonna let Michael take this one. Since I went to community college, I've never been a part of homecoming events, so I'm actually excited to know what it is.
I actually don't really know what it is. They throw these events. I don't like I said. I like to play games, so I don't like going out too much. So I didn't really did much of that events in freshman four. Do have a football team that at the time were relatively good. Like wasn't great, but relatively good. For freshman students, they give you free tickets for the season. And you get to sit in the nice seats in the stadium usually because it's the seats dedicated to for students. So I went to a few of those, but I didn't really attend much more. It was because more so friends were like, "Hey, let's go," and I was like, "Okay," but I didn't really do much more than that. Activities, I could confirm that there are parties like people were asking about the fraternities and stuff like that, but I didn't really participate in too many of them.
Also, homecoming activities. It's important to note that matters what school you go to, because it really matters on football or what sports they have. So I know UCLA has a homecoming, USC has a homecoming. We watched that video yesterday about SDSU that has a homecoming, but schools kind of like UCI or UCSD will not have a homecoming because we don't have a big sports focus on campus. So keep that in mind when you're choosing what type of college experience you want to have, like the homecoming experience. You might need to look towards schools that sports based.
Okay, thanks for the answer.
No problem. And else? Could be about anything. It doesn't have to be about sororities or fraternities. Oh, I'm gonna butcher it. Rui San.
Uh,
Can you pronounce your name for me? I'm so sorry. I just want to make sure.
my name is Ri Shen.
Ri Shen. Okay. You're learning and I'm learning too. Ri Shen. Okay. Can you say your question, please?
I want to ask, is there have any entry examination in America? But because in Taiwan, and when we are high school student to be a senior high school student, we have examination, and also we turn to college student. We also have in the America examination.
So, as we were saying earlier, we used to have the SAT and the ACT, which I guess can count as our entry examination. But recently, because of COVID, I know they're trying to get rid of those two tests and replace it with something else. Know what they're going to come out with, or if they're going to bring back those two tests. Now it's the SAT and the ACT.
Yeah, and I guess in America, like I said from my mom, uh, your entrance examination actually ranks you guys, right? For us, it doesn't necessarily do that, and it's not necessarily the one and only reason why someone gets chosen for a college, right? And like I said about myself, course, my kind of entry examination here was really bad, but my grades in high school, as well as the extracurricular activities like WN, stuff like that, heavily in my favor, meaning that it made up for the fact that my scores were not as high.
Hope that answered your question. So let's go to the next one. Yu Ching, she says, will you recommend people study abroad? Is it worth it? Also, do you have any advice for students who want to study medicine? You don't need to turn on your mic if it's noisy. Thank you for letting us know, though. Study abroad. I don't know if Michael did, but I think the only problem with studying abroad is what you want to study and when you're going to study abroad. There are places on campus, there's counselors that can help you figure out when to study abroad. I know for medicine it's harder because you have to take all of your prerequisites, most of them, in the United States if you want to go to medical school here. That you should keep in mind want to study medicine, I would try to go either first year, if possible, maybe like a quarter or a semester. Or if that's not possible because of your classes, I've heard of people going and studying abroad during the summer. Easy general education requirements during the summer. There's also they have volunteering trips where you can go to different parts of the world, which is really good if you want to study medicine to show on your application. I have a friend who went to Peru and they worked at clinics over there helping the local community. I would say my advice to you for students studying medicine is hard to look into the future, but I would recommend kind of setting out outline or plan of what you want to do. Want to study abroad? Make sure you know where to put that in your plan. And like when you want to take your MCAT or when you want to finish your requirements. Really important. And I know a lot of students now who didn't know that when you apply, that you need to apply by June for your application. I'm even learning as I go, which is kind of bad because you need to plan in advance. So I would seriously recommend like maybe the basic bare bone minimum of like what you want to know or what you want to do with your career or life, and then kind of hit those goals as you go. Be the exact thing you want, but as long as you have that, you kind of have something to work towards and know what to go for. Well, did you study abroad? I
No, I had the chance to for at least a semester or a summer. Um, but my financial situation kind of prohibited me on doing it. I think a lot of people, at least in architecture, like to say it's worth it because you get to experience the different architectural themes elsewhere. You know, I made like I said, the risk analysis and decided not to do it. For you guys, right? It really depends. It is an experience. I think because of what decisions we made, I would say don't necessarily take this as 100%. Like you shouldn't do it just because we didn't do it. I would recommend that maybe in a future session that that you guys bring somebody on that actually went to study abroad, so the students could hear from them what made them want to do that. But in terms of like the advice for medical students, at Berkeley, when you go there, everybody is either pre-hos, which is pre-business, or pre-med. Everybody that you meet when you go there in freshman year. Actually, for me, I didn't even know any architecture students until my second year when I started taking architecture classes, because everybody was pre-med. And what I could tell you from most of my friends, grades are a lot of this, so maintain the highest grade possible. Um, and then making sure that you do your volunteer hours. Volunteer is big. Making sure that you do get the best MCAT scores, because that is also huge as well. So it is very academic based in America. Studying medicine is very difficult and very competitive. Say out of my friends who were pre-med, probably half of them were not able to become doctors. They had to go to other careers, dentistry, things like that, where it is a lot less competitive.
Okay, so I'm seeing it's 11:59 your time. Any last minute questions before we log off? If not, I want to thank Michael for coming and speaking with you guys today. You had a really great presentation, and I know I learned some new things. Much.
Thank you.
Okay, so